What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we got another how-to video, and today's how-to video is going to be on how to install carbon fiber shock towers to your Traxxas Bandit. Now this is the first Bandit that we ever had. This is actually the one that we won our first competition with. We also have Casper that already has these same shock towers on it. I really like these shock towers. If you guys want these shock towers, there'll be a link in the description or where you can get them. The exact same ones that I got. So let's not waste no more time. Let's go ahead and get into this how-to video. Here we go. Alright guys, so what you're going to need is a 2.5, a 2mm, your Traxxas tool, and for our Bandit we're going to need a Phillips head. Might be forgetting one or two things, but we'll figure it out as it comes up. So of course, first thing you're going to want to do is remove your body. Alright, so the next thing you're going to want to do is take your shocks off. You don't have to take them off the bottom, you can just take it off the top. So one screw, two screws, the shocks off. Now you're going to want to take your shock tower screws out, and those are down up in here. And the shock tower screws are down up behind the fin. You'll see them if you look right behind your transmission. There we go. Alright, so that's just two screws too if you have a stretch chassis. If you have the stock Traxxas chassis, you probably have 4 screws on yours. But see, so now that's already lifted up and coming off. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you have to take your rear tie rod off. So if you loosen up your shock tower before taking the tie rod off, you could probably move it enough to get to it without having to take your spur gear off. But then that's real easy. Then it's just another one screw on this side. Got it off. Then come to the other side and do the same thing. You can kind of twist it like this and get to the screw even easier. And boom, there you go. So now your shock tower is pretty much off. For the setup we have, we're gonna have to take this, unplug this, run it through here. Okay, and then all you gotta do is, if you have this little metal wing mount, you just push on the top and pull, like kind of like this. Pushing with my thumb, pulling with my finger. Boom. Got it. Super easy. Now your shock tower is off, but I have my wires going through it. But I'm gonna get something to mark those because we're running censored, so I just want to make it easy and know exactly which wire went where. Alright, so the hard part for the rear is over with. Now you just got to unplug your ESC wires. 1, 2, 3. And then bam. Oh, almost forgot. And your sensor wire. Got to unplug that. And then bam. There's your rear stock shock tower. You got that off. And it's what I like to do is take the new one and line it up so you can make sure what holes it was already in. So for the ours, it was in this top outer hole, and on the bottom you can see a little ring where it was on the bottom. So it was the bottom hole. So perfect. So now we know to go from this bottom hole to this top outer hole. Yours could be a little different. Just put your shock towers together and see where it lines up. But if you have the stock shock towers already, it's probably the same if you never messed with it. I never messed with the shocks or anything on this car yet. So next thing you do is you grab your wires, put them in the hole if that's how you're running your car. And then we're going to go ahead and plug it in to make sure everything's right. If you get your wires through the hole, you'll look at, you got this little pack of screws. That's your new shock tower screws, but you're only going to use 2 of them if you have the stretch chassis. And if you have the stock chassis or another chassis that's designed for all 4 screws, you'll use all 4. But with our chassis, we're only going to use 2. Now, to make it easy, before we get the wing mount and everything on there, we're going to go ahead and put this back on. So it's just 2 screws on the back side if you have the stretch chassis, just like that. And when we're using a drill, so we're going to let it snug up and then come back later with a Phillips head screwdriver. You don't want to tighten it down using the drill. Alright guys, so next thing you're going to want to do is get your wires hooked up right. Now if you're running censored, you got to make sure A to A, B to B, C to C. If you're not running censored, as long as the middle wire is fine, it's okay. If you aren't running censored, put the middle wire to the middle, and then it don't matter where these go. If you hit your trigger and forward is reverse and reverse is forward, then you swap A and B. I mean A and C. So the stock spot is all the way at the bottom, so that's what we're gonna do. Alright guys, so like I said earlier, I don't know what I was thinking. It's easier to put those on with the shock tower loose. So if you did tighten up your shock tower, go ahead and loosen that back up. It'll make everything a lot easier. So now go ahead with your camber link, put it all the way at the bottom one, closest to the transmission. See how much higher that allows us to be able to put the screw in instead of... Oh yeah. And now once you have the carbon fiber shock towers, since it isn't going in plastic, you have to put these nuts on it. Then hold the other side and just tighten that down. Alright. Now you're going to flip your car over and we're going to do the same thing. Put your screw through, go to that bottom hole, then get you one of your nuts. Just like that. Oh, don't drop it. You can go ahead and get it started a little bit, and then just tighten that baby down. Now once you got that done, now go ahead and put your shock tower back on. Boom, just like that. Again, remember when you're doing it with the drill, you just want to get it snug, just like that with the drill, because you'll just drill your damn threads out of the plastic. Get it snug like that, then come back with a Phillips head screwdriver and tighten it the rest of the way so you know how tight you're putting it. So now all we gotta do is put our shocks back. Now for the shocks, so what you're gonna want to do next is get the longest screw that's in the pack and your short spacer. You're gonna put that through your shock and then screw that spacer all the way down. It's a threaded spacer, so you just screw it all the way down just like that, and then you're gonna want to put it in the top outer hole closest to the edge, closest to the tire. Put that through just like that. Come back with one of your nuts, put it on the other side, get your screwdriver, put it on the other side, and tighten it up. And then you're going to want to do the exact same side on the same thing on the other side. As you can see, the stock shock tower has a built-in spacer, and this is much wider than the one you're using, so that spacer makes up for what you're missing, because otherwise the shock would be more leaning back. Alright guys, now for the front, you're gonna have to take this top plate off, so go ahead and take these two screws in the front out, just like that. Alright guys, so once you get them 4 screws off, you'll see that this moves real easy. So you can just kind of scoot that back out the way, and then you just have to take this screw out for this turnbuckle. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Just like that. And then go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. The way that the front of the Bandit is kind of angled, it's easier to do it like this with it sitting up. Boom. So next you got to take your front shocks off. So we're going to go ahead and get those off. Just like that. One more to go. Got that one off. Go ahead and take these screws off before we lose them. And then to take the actual shock tower off, there's 2 screws at the bottom. You're going to need to get those off. Don't look like we're going to be able to get the drill up in there. But we'll try it again. Okay, so we was able to get the drill in there. So So there's one, and then right over here on the other side is another one. Boom, we got that out. So now once you get all that stuff off, which is only 3 screws on each side, shock, turnbuckle, and then the one that holds the actual shock tower on, then you lift this up and you can get it out just like that. So if you have a light or anything, you're gonna have to unplug it and run your wire through it, and then go ahead and just get your wire ran how you had it before. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so once you got your wire ran, so then you just gotta make sure everything is situated. Get it back in place. Make sure this is right. So now that you got that in, we can go ahead and screw the carbon fiber front shock tower down. Alright guys, so this part's not the easiest. You just got to find the best angle to hold the car and get it started. Once you get the first one started, it's a lot easier. This side a whole lot easier. That first one's really hard to get in. Okay, so now we got a pretty good open spot to the hole on this one. Alright guys, so once you get all that secured and screwed down, you can go ahead and put your top plate on. So same concept, you can put it on with the drill, but only do it till it's all the way down. Don't tighten it up with the drill. So we got 1, 2, and don't let it make that sound. If you do it like that a little bit, it's probably alright, but you don't want to do that. That's what you want to avoid doing with the drill. And come back at the end and hand tighten it. Now you can put your top screws back on right here. That way you ain't got to worry about your steering servo and all that stuff moving on you no more while you're working on the rest. Alright, so next is you can really do whatever you want next. Next we're going to go ahead and put the shocks on. So our shocks went on this second hole right here. And these spacers are supposed to be for the back, but they're too long for the back, or at least I don't like how far that comes out. So I put the short ones on the back. What I do for the front is get you an old turnbuckle or camber link, anything like that with these little ball joint things on the end. Take you a screwdriver or something and pop that out. You're going to use that as your spacer. Boom, just like that. Alright guys, so we got a longer screw, so you're going to need that for the front. So you put your screw through your hole, then you go ahead, put your little spacer on there, slide your shock down, then go ahead and get you one of the nuts that it came with, and tighten that. Oh. And tighten that thing down. It's easier to get it started with your hand and then come back with a screwdriver and your little Traxxas tool and tighten it up. Now same thing on the other side. Get your screw, put it through the hole, take your homemade spacer, slide it on the screw, slide your shock on, get your little nut, and now you got your front shocks attached again. Alright guys, so now we just got one little simple thing left to do, and that's put your camber link back on. So same thing, you just slide it in the hole. So we can actually use shorter screws on that one. Okay, so it didn't come with enough nuts, guys, so it looks like you're gonna have to have 2 nuts of your own. So take one of the nuts, put it on the other side of this, just like that. Then we're going to do the same thing as before. We got our screwdriver, then our Traxxas tool, and tighten it up. Alright guys, so then get your little nut, get it hand started again on this side. It actually would have been easier to put the this on then the shocks. Come back with your Traxxas tool and tighten it up. Well, alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful to y'all. And if you got any questions on how to change your shock towers or anything to do with your Bandits, let me know in the comments. DM me on Facebook, Snapchat, anything like that, and I'll get back with y'all as quick as I can and help y'all out. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and smash the subscribe button. And if you got any more video ideas you would like to see, RC videos, exploring videos, any type of content you see me do, let me know in the comments and I'll get it done for y'all. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.